more skip personality videos that have been coming out, I wanted to take some time and explain to you what MBTI types are actually like. I did go into do a previous video about how to figure out each MBTI type, so in this video I'm going to be going deeper into each personality type, telling you their strengths, their weaknesses, and how you can identify them in a public setting. So this is going to cover all 16 MBTI types, and I will link the how to identify each of the 16 personality types up here in the corner in the cards above, as well as my funny skits that I've been putting out about MBTI types. We're going to start with the ISTJ, introverted sensing, thinking, and judging. An ISTJ strength is their detailed orientedness or perfectionist type nature. So they will keep everything on a detailed oriented plan. They will also have everything very structured and organized. So if you ever have an ISTJ in your life, you can definitely hope for things to be very structured and organized. So they are also very practical problem solvers. So they're in the now problem solvers, solving things in our real world. Unlike other problem solving types, so most of them think up here on how to problem solve. They are very practical. So they are going to be able to find you a practical problem solving solution. So if you're like, hey, I can't keep my house organized, they're going to know the way to do that. Now to the not so fun time, the weaknesses, because it's impossible to have strengths without a couple weaknesses. So because of their strength, their love for structure, they can also be very rigid, unwilling to make changes, or get paralyzed in quick decisions. And what I mean by that is they won't be able to make fast decisions. That's not saying all of you ISTJs won't be able to make fast decisions. I'm saying this is a general weakness and something to work on. So don't take any of this me saying this is what you fail in and you need to do better. I'm just saying there's always room for improvement with anybody. I mean, you're never done improving. So don't take this the wrong way. And if you're an ISTJ, you might also find emotions hard to work around. So because of your T or your thinking, you have a hard time with other people's emotions as well as your own. And because of this, it's going to be harder for you to work around as well as understand where people with more emotion are coming from. So those are the weaknesses and strengths for the ISTJ. And now how to identify this ISTJ. In real life, ISTJs are dependable and will definitely make sure group projects get done. And they are going to be the friend that is going to remember every single detail about you that you have told them in the past or recently. They're going to remember everything about you. So that is it for the ISTJ. Now on to the ISFJ, the defender. And isn't this name just perfect for this MBTI type? Like, if you've ever met an ISFJ or have one in your life, I've got 2 ISFJs in my family, so I know all about this type. I tend to study more on the personality types that I have in my household, just because I feel like I need to, work on getting along with my family before learning how to get along with the other personality types, if that makes sense. So the ISFJ, the defender, is literally the perfect name, and their strengths sort of coincide with that name, defender. They are so good at handling emotional problems, emotional decisions, and things like that. They are also, as the name implies, great defenders, and they will stand up for you more than they will stand up for themselves. So if you are getting bullied or emotionally crushed, they will most likely stand up for you. And they often notice little details about people and try to make other people's lives better before they make their own life better. So you can see a common theme with this type. They also, like the ISTJ, like things very organized and structured, but will prioritize emotions over structure. So if the structure is hurting someone, they will most likely choose the emotional route versus that. So I'm not saying they're like strict, like as strict as the ISTJ is, but they are definitely close to that because they are a very close personality type. Now, with this type as well, this might seem a little odd that ISFJs also can struggle with perfectionism. So unlike the ISTJ, where the ISTJ is going to struggle without that outside things being perfect, they're going to struggle the most with themselves. So they're going to point that perfectionism inward, and they're going to see all the bad stuff about themselves. So isn't that odd that the personality types that are most focused on helping others often struggle with seeing themselves in a poor light? So that is one of the biggest weaknesses for the ISFJ. They will be their own worst critic in a sense. Their inside voice is just gonna literally tear them apart. And that is what I've seen with most ISFJs, like the weaknesses, especially with any types that are like really people focused, will often struggle with their inner critic just tearing them apart. Crazy, right? What are ISFJs like in real life? They are often the people you see caretaking or taking care of people, and like their picture presents, like the nurse. I'm not sure if you guys seen on the 16 Personalities website, they are shown as a nurse. And that is often their job type. It is also a stereotype, like the nurse type, because they will often be seen taking soup to people that are sick or taking care of people that are sick. They also are very responsible and will make sure anything that you ask them to do within reason will get done when you need it to be done. Next is the INFJ, the advocate. The strengths for the INFJ are very similar to the ISFJ, as in they are very good with people. They also have a higher sense of intuition, which makes them able to really see people's feelings and really see what is hurting a particular person or just what a particular person is struggling with at a time. This is what fortunately gave them the therapist stereotype. So in movies or just generally books, most people that are the therapist or counselors will most likely be INFJs because of their desire to want to understand people's emotions and where they're coming from. And that is one of their greatest strengths, is really just reading people. And again, since this type is so close to the ISFJ and really is a people person, like really wants to be a people person, their inner critic is so harsh on themselves. They are hard on themselves. And you're gonna see that with any type that is just like a total people person who needs to be there for people. Like if you just have a friend that's like, I have to be there for this person, they are struggling like over and over again. Their inner critic is going to tear them apart. Not all the time. Like I'm not saying this is like a one size fits all kind of thing, but with most of these types, the ISFJ and the INFJ, you will see them just tear themselves apart. Another weakness is, and this isn't so much of a weakness, this is just a thing to look out for, that since INFJs are so good at reading other people, they also think other people can read them just as well. So that makes them very hesitant to let people see the real them. So they will often hide themselves under stuff. So you won't be able to, what I'm saying is it's going to be hard to get to know an INFJ if you are just friends. That's what I'm saying. Like at first. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. Like it's going to be, they're going to chameleon. They're going to blend in with the group. They're going to pretend to be something they're not, is what I'm saying. That's a weakness. That is sort of a weakness because it often leads them to burnout because they are trying so hard to be something they're not. Now, what does an INFJ look like in real life? You will often see them being the friend that gives you guidance or helps you through difficult problems in your life. Like if you're just like, hey man, I need to vent, the INFJ is most likely gonna be the one to sit there and just hear you out and then afterwards give you advice to try to help you. Next is the INTJ, the mastermind or the architect. So the INTJ, what are some of their strengths? INTJs are strategic and goal-oriented or goal-focused. They will also be very structured like the ISTJ and often caught in perfectionism as well. And I tried to pair the most similar types together. So like you can see as we're going through this, they're getting like, they're similar to the types that I've said before. So I tried to link it that sort of way. They are often very dependable and they are often trying to find the most efficient course of action in work, business, life, whatever you want to call it. They are going to try to find the most efficient way. Then that is one of their strengths, because if you need something done quickly, they're going to find a way to get it done. Some of our weaknesses. The INTJ's weaknesses. They can often be arrogant or seen as arrogant. Just saying. They can often be dismissive of emotions and choose logic instead. And like I said, feeling types have their struggles, thinking types have their struggles. With most thinking types, you're going to find that the emotions are going to be harder for the thinking types to really get around, which is a really, really hard struggle to break. And like with the feeling types, they're going to have mostly their inner critic and their people pleasing, which I'm not saying people pleasing is bad, but there is like a limit to it. And INTJs, another weakness is they can often isolate themselves and try to focus on a goal. So they're gonna, if they got tunnel vision, crazy tunnel vision, and they're just gonna push everybody off to the side while they're like, hey, I'm focusing on this, you are a distraction. So they will often see the people in their lives as distractions instead of assets. Now, what does an INTJ look like in real life? You will often see them as the silent leader or the goal-oriented friend. So they are going to be hard to see differently from the ISTJ. The only difference is INTJs are more up here than the ISTJ is more outward focused. So that is what they're going to be like in real life. Next is the ISTP. And strengths for the ISTP is they're very hands-on, practical thinkers. They're very good with puzzle solving, woodworking, things with your hands. They are just gonna be right there. They're gonna be perfect for those jobs. They are often very curious about how things work, leading them to great breakthroughs. So with this type, they're often gonna be out in the real world, trying new things, doing new things, which is gonna bring them to great breakthroughs, learning new things. They're gonna be pretty smart in all areas. So if you're ever talking to an ISTP and they're like, yeah, I've done that before, I've done that before, I've done that before, because they have tried actually all those things, because they chase whatever's new for them. So they will be out trying all those things. Now, weaknesses for this type is they are quite impulsive. And I think that pairs with the curiosity and the trying to figure out how things work. They will just be, I'm gonna go do that, I'm gonna go do that, without thinking of the long-term problems. Like, hey, I'm gonna go skydiving. Like, okay, say they're in the plane. I'm gonna go skydiving, right? I forgot my parachute. So that is what I'm saying. Like, they're gonna be so impulsive to a fault that sometimes they're gonna forget the key details. Again, a thinking type, they are not so good with emotions. How you will see an ISTP in real life, they will often be the ones trying new things, exploring new places. They will also be hands-on fixers. So if you're like, I'm gonna hire a handyman to fix my dishwasher, the ISTP friend is most likely gonna be, let me look at it first. This is the ISFP, and strength for the ISFP is they are very emotional people. So they are really good if you want that emotional friend in your life, just to like be there for you when you want to vent, and then you be there for them when they want to vent. They are very emotional personality type, very adventurous. ISFPs are also seen as the artist type. So most ISFPs also have a great sense of, or great grasp of artistic abilities. So they will be the friend that's going to be really good at arts and crafts, super into DIY and things like that. Now, weaknesses with this type is they may often struggle to plan ahead with things, because they are very in the now type, which can lead to big problems in the future, because not planning ahead is bad. So they will one day maybe decide to quit their job, not planning ahead thinking, well, if I quit my job, I'm not going to be able to pay rent. You will see ISFPs in the real world is they will often be seen as the free spirit friend, and they will often have a form of self-expression, whether that is art, music, book writing, something like that. Now for the INFPs, their strength is similar to the ISFPs, where they are often very creative types, very imaginative. You will often see INFPs going on to write books, novels, and things like that. Just like the ISFP, they will find forms of self-expression and are quite good at it. Now, a weakness for this type is they can often be overly sensitive or dramatic. So what I mean by that is a friend might not mean much by saying one thing, but they take it to a whole extreme in their heads. And then it ruins the relationship over something so small. That's what I mean by the dramaticness and the sensitivity. Now, how will you see these in real life? You will often see them pretty much just like the ISFP. They will be the free spirit type, the self-expression type, and you will often see them closing off sometimes when they need some personal space. INTP. Now this type, their strength is most of them are very analytical thinkers. And most of the time that isn't necessarily book smart, but it can also be book smart. It can be real world smarts or book smarts. They are often very curious about how things work. Like the ISTP, they will want to figure out how things work, how things in the world work, and then they will focus on that topic for a long period of time until they reach a conclusion. They often value their freedom, and as it is very important to them, so they will pride themselves on being very independent. Weaknesses. They are prone to withdraw from people and just completely shut off. They can often be very indecisive, so have a really hard time with making decisions. And honestly, sometimes don't we all? Now, how will you see INTPs in the real life? They will often be the ones asking why to things. Like, why did you do that? Why did you do it that way? Because they will want to understand. ESTPs, and this is quite the personality if I'm being honest. They are like, if you've ever met an ISTP, imagine that, but 10 times more impulsive. Now, that is one of their strengths. They are very energetic and outgoing. They are like a salesperson on steroids. They have that extrovertedness. It's crazy. They often make very good leaders because of that outgoing personality, that very out there, that very energetic self. That can also, like the ISTP, be one of their weaknesses. They are also super impulsive. They are also very risk prone and will want to actually take risks because of the thrill of it, which I would see as a pretty big weakness, especially if it comes to running your own business. So how will you see ISTPs in the real life? Well, they will often be the people like, if they hear something, they're like, let's try it, let's do it, right? They will often be planning their next adventure or next big plan. For the ESFP, which is very similar to this type except for the feeling. So this type will also be very outgoing, but unlike the ISTP, this type will actually will have the F, the feeling. So they will be more able to handle people's feelings and emotions. They will often be the person that brings people out of the corner when they see them sitting in there and go, come on, let's go have fun. Weakness. ESFPs can often be a attention-seeking type. So they will often be the people that are like dramatically make up problems in their life just to have that attention. I'm not saying one size fits all with this. I'm just saying some of the common weaknesses which each of these personality types often get bored and don't like long-term responsibilities. How will you see ESFPs? They will be natural entertainers. So they are often songwriters, dancers. They are often the people who want to be the center of attention. Now, for the ENFP, they are often artistic, just like their cousin, the INFP. They are also very outgoing, also thrive with connections with people. Now, some of their weaknesses is they do not like to plan or organize. Now, how will you see these types in real life? They will often be the one exploring ways of self-expression and also just exploring real life and exploring possible connections with people. So they are like the INFP and ESFP rolled into one. Now for the ENTP, the debater. These types are very quick to make decisions and also great with problem solving. They are very practical and quick problem solvers. Is they are very prone to arguments. So they love arguments. They like arguing over things that aren't important and arguing over things that are important just because they find a thrill in testing their debating abilities. They also dislike routines or structure. Because of their need to keep going, keep moving, they often find routines very jail-like. So how will you find a ENTP in real life? You will mostly see them as the people who want to strike up a debating-like conversation. They will often be the ones to debate with you over politics. ESTJ, the executive. This personality type is very organized, efficient, great problem solvers. They always are on the go for practical solutions. Some of their weaknesses is they are very stubborn. Very, very stubborn. They will be so stubborn that they will veer off of the best idea because they are so stubborn with their plan, because they think theirs is the best. They can also be quite controlling and struggle with emotional sensitivity. And now how will you see the ESTJs in real life? They will often be the type that is in the leader seat, CEO, the leader, the executive, the person running the show. ESFJ, the caregiver. This personality type is great with people, amazing with people. They are like the ESFP, but a little less attention seeking. While they still have that great energy and able to pull people out of the corner, they also care about how that makes them feel. Some of their weaknesses, they are very resistant to change, super resistant to change, and they can also be a little attention seeking. How will you see a ESFJ in real life? They will often be the people caring or taking care of people a lot like the ISFJ, and they will often pull people from the corner and bring them close. They often have a very large group of friends. ENFJ is a lot like the INFJ, where their strength is purely reading people and discovering what makes people work, what's their dislikes, what's their likes. So majority of the people watching MBTI videos are most likely going to be ENFJs, INFJs, and people that really want to self-discover or discover other people's types, the dislikes, strengths, weaknesses, and know all about a person. One of this type's weaknesses, they can be manipulative without knowing it. So because they know so much about people, they will be able to easily manipulate or control people, and most of the time they don't even realize they're doing it. So how will you see an ENFJ in real life? They will often be seen taking a back seat in social settings to focus on people watching or discovering how people work. So that at first in social settings, they will appear introverted, actually. They will be taking a back seat, discovering who you are first before talking to you. Last but not least, the ENTJ, the commander. And that is truly true. This type is a natural born leader or commander. You will often see them taking charge, which is one of their best strengths. They will also be no nonsense. So messing around while there's work to do, I don't think so. They will also be great at organizing groups of people. Now, some of their weaknesses is they will not care at all or not so much about emotions. So if they're organizing a group of people and someone's like, I need to stop, they'll be like, no, you just had a break 5 minutes ago, we're carrying on. Don't care if your mom just died. I'm just joking. But for real, they can be a little crushing about people's feelings or emotions. Often seeing them as a human fault or just because you're too sensitive. Vicious and not afraid to take charge. So I hope you enjoyed this MBTI type video. I had a lot of fun making this video with you guys. Let me know down below which type you are. I, of course, am an INTJ, and I have met most of these types in real life settings, and I also have most of these types as my family members. So also share your family members' types or get your family in on that. It is so much fun to include your family members in things like these and just really learn about one another. So again, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.